Well, what's up, everybody?
Hello.
We're gonna do a quick episode 2.5 because
Rob left.
Rob left.
He decided it's time for vacation. He's in Hawaii.
And we can't blame him for that.
Nope, he deserves it.
Yep,
He needs
absolutely.
it.
And bring your mic down just like a hair,
Just
like
there.
down. There you go.
Right here?
Yeah, we want to see your face.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, that and our episode 2, which launched this morning.
Yep.
We had some technical difficulties.
Camera difficulties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
new podcast, new gear. We're trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
And we had one camera overheat. So we went to iPhones. And then the iPhone, like, when you shoot videos with an iPhone
Yeah.
and you're looking at it on the screen, they look incredible.
Oh.
Like if it's iPhone footage to iPhone footage, but
Right.
for a studio setting,
No, not there.
dude, it is wild how terrible the footage was.
Yeah.
So
No,
and you might hear some talking in the background. What class
Yeah.
is it?
So right now we actually have we have ASD Concepts, Grizzly Medical, and Ryan from Fieldworks here doing the Cerberus course, and it's
It's Cerberus. Okay.
Cerberus course. It is, man. This course is fucking bananas, dude.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's.
Have you gone through it?
No, I haven't. I
Okay.
wanted to go through it this weekend, but we ended up being
only
so
the
busy.
host, not the student.
Dude, really, yeah. I mean, originally we had planned on me and Nick both being able to attend. By the time the dates were solidified and stuff, I was like, man, we're already committed to so much shit this weekend.
Yeah.
And so it was really tough. But it's a mixture of kind of like a TCCC like trauma class, right? So stop the bleed stuff, situational awareness, all sorts of dude, everything.
Yeah.
So it's a real interesting course. There's knife fighting. There's how to escape from handcuffs or zip ties.
How many hours over how many days?
Well, they started yesterday afternoon. And that was like the introduction to the class. And then there's 2 8-hour days. So 16 additional hours.
Okay.
It's a way for it to be really high stress, high stress teaching,
Stress
learning.
inoculation learning
Like
scenarios.
big time. Like our simulator is great for stress inoculation, but not like this.
Yeah.
This is next level. man.
Disclaimers
Yeah,
and
yeah,
legal
yeah.
release forms. And
Yeah, it's a trip. I see everyone walking in and out now, and everyone just looks so happy and like, oh, this is a great course. I'm having a good time.
we can break this bone, but not this bone kind of
yeah,
stuff.
and then right, and then what's interesting is like, I know what the curriculum is. Right
Mhm.
before we host anyone here at SimShot, I'm like, tell me, talk to me.
Yeah.
I need to know what's going on here. It has to be good shit, but it also needs to, I need to be in the know of what's happening in my building.
Right.
And so I know what they're about to go through.
Yeah.
they're probably going to be smiling at the end.
Yeah.
But there's going to be like a solid 8 hours of not really a whole lot of smiles.
Yeah.
It
Well,
gets
good.
it gets rowdy. So it's a great course.
Well, it's like when you're in those scenarios, whether it be medical or, a lethal encounter
Yeah.
or there's a threat and you're not engaged, but you're trying to evade.
Mhm.
It's never fun.
Never, yeah.
No, you're not going through that woohoo, this is awesome.
I've been waiting my whole life for this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're like, oh no, this is real and it's life or death. And, so that understanding how your body reacts in really stressful situations, it's a wild experience if you've never gone through it before.
Yeah. I mean, that's so true. I mean, it really comes down to people think they're prepared.
Yeah.
People think they're prepared. And there's stuff that I think I'm prepared for that if it happens, I'm going to be like, well, this is definitely not prepared.
Right.
The preparation is gone.
Yeah.
Um,
You can think through giving yourself tools.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, setting yourself up for as much success as humanly possible, but trying to apply a tourniquet while someone's screaming in your face, flickering lights, and then tasing you.
Yeah.
Will kind of really make you super good at putting on a tourniquet.
I saw your getting tased video yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they show up and all I hear is just crack, crack, crack. And I'm just like, oh shit, there's a taser here.
Yeah.
This is a problem. And if you know these guys, they're a rowdy bunch. They're really great guys, but they're rowdy. And I was like, well, I'm for sure getting tased today.
Yeah.
100%. And I did. But my thing's well, if we're going to tase me, let's at least put it on camera.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And, the one that I caught on camera wasn't bad. It was the ones that I wasn't expecting. that
You
I
just
got
walk
hit
up
with.
like right in the love
Yeah,
handle.
so like after I was done filming that little one, and that was my raw reaction. Every time I've been tased a bunch of times, and it hurts every time. I don't know what people.
Oh, it
are
never
like.
feels good.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, it's not so bad. I'm just like,
It's like grabbing a cattle fence, you know,
yeah,
like
it doesn't
it's
feel
not
great.
cool.
Yeah, it like definitely shocks you. Yeah, I got hit in the hand, like the top of my hand right here, and dude, I felt it in my toes.
Yeah.
Like it was a trip. I was just like, good.
Dude, last year SHOT Show, maybe the year before, there was this vendor down in the law enforcement arena,
Stress
whatever
vest.
you want to call it. No, not a vest.
Okay.
It was a non-lethal detainment. It's a glove. I cannot remember what
I
it's
saw
called.
it on Instagram.
Dude, it dropped me to my knees. It's not a taser.
Yeah.
It's something different. And their big thing is there's no implications for somebody who might have like cardiac compromise. So if they have like a heart condition, you're not going to like throw them into some crazy lethal arrhythmia.
Gotcha.
So that was the kind of whole big sell on it. And it's an on and off. So you can actually be touching somebody, grabbing somebody like forcefully with it and it not be engaged. But then if they start to resist, it's like some very slight manipulation. And I kid you not, I just dropped like a rock.
Shit.
It was wild.
It's like the Michael Jackson glove of fucking arrest
Absolutely,
techniques.
absolutely what it is. I wish I could remember what it was called, but
Yeah.
I'm sure maybe if somebody's listening.
Well,
they
yeah, I
can
mean, if
figure
someone
it out.
knows of it, drop it in the comments because now I want to Google it and I'll post it.
Oh,
'cause-
dude, it's like one of those things where you should just like have it around the shop just so you can like,
Dude,
you want
yeah.
to train at Shim Shot? Hang on.
you want to learn how to shoot? Well, you better be good, dude. Because if those thumbs aren't in the right place,
Right. Yeah.
Big Daddy gonna come over here and just light you up. So
Yeah. So
yeah, it's an interesting course, man. And these guys are so skilled at what they do. If you go into YouTube and you search Grizzly Medical,
okay. I was gonna say you want to shout him out.
yeah. Well, especially this one. This is really cool. And before I had met Dan from Grizzly Medical, I saw this video. Someone told me like, yeah, this Grizzly Medical guy is legit, dude. You can find videos of him actually saving people's lives. And I was like, word. All right, cool. So I Googled him, pulled up the YouTube video, and I guess there was multiple people got stabbed when he was at work one day.
Oh, okay.
And he ran out and was first on the scene. He was a medic in the military and continued training and was contracted to teach people how to do that in the military and stuff. So he was like, really teaching people like TCCC and like
TCCC.
combat med and stuff. And
That's Tactical Casualty Combat Care, I
Yeah.
believe is the acronym.
yeah, sorry. So if I say acronyms and you don't know, Josh is here to create words or acronyms for them.
I think that's the right. I know it's casualty. It's combat casualty care. I'm not sure which order the C's are in.
It's all the same. It's
Care
C's.
casualty combat.
Yeah, it works. But yeah, the video of him on YouTube, I mean, you could see him run out and he's just like straight up applying aid to these stab victims. And, when the police arrive and stuff, they're like trying to like get him to move. And he's just like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to do this wrong.
Yeah.
And that to me was like proof in the pudding. Like, it's like, oh man, like just like, your job, right? Like you could say you're good at it, but it's like, you do this for a living. Like there's like,
Dude, and there's things like that you would expect every paramedic in every given setting to be highly proficient at.
Yeah.
But like, let's just be honest. Like, you're not out throwing tourniquets every day.
right.
You know what I mean? And throwing tourniquets on somebody who is really bleeding
Mm-hmm.
is very different than throwing it on a dry leg.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
So true.
Or when, like a lot of guys will talk about if you get a new cat tourniquet, like unwrap it, prep it,
Yep.
that way you're carrying a ready to
Ready to
use, right? Like I cannot tell you how many times like I'll get into my ambulance because I don't hold a full-time shift. I basically cover a whole bunch of different shifts
Mhm.
in a given time period. And I'll go through and, go through all my gear and it's like everything's still in its wrapper. And it's like, you get it from one perspective. It's just restock. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
But from the other perspective, it's like readiness and preparedness.
It is.
And you kind of stop thinking about it being preparedness when it's just your regular
Yeah.
thing. Like, oh, I used a tourniquet. I got to throw another one in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like almost like a level of like non-negligent complacency.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
You're like, this is just what I do, dude. Like,
Right.
I gotta
Yeah.
put a new one in my bag.
I got to grab it, so I may as well unwrap it. Like it's not that big of a
Yeah.
deal, but it's definitely interesting, man. Those types of things. The first time you do it, especially for real,
Yeah.
it's a different way of thinking. You know what I mean? I remember my first time having a real big bleeder, and it wasn't even a trauma. This dude was a dialysis patient, so he had a fistula, and a fistula is basically like a surgical vein loop
Right.
that is placed that basically connects a vein to an artery directly. It just creates this big loop, and they're really big and swollen, but it gives easy access for patients to be dialyzed. And for whatever reason, it burst. It ruptured. This dude was spraying. I mean, he lived in a double wide, and it looked like a freaking American Horror Story, just like blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And I walk in. I think I was an intern. I can't remember. I walk in and I'm just like, oh no, my partner had an intern, and we're waiting for the intern to like, hey, like, let's jump in.
Yeah.
And it's just grab a hand and squeeze, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that is because there's vascular, like surgical intervention, you're not really supposed to tourniquet those limbs. You're supposed to just control the bleeding, but we could not under any mechanism get the bleeding to stop. So we ended up having to throw 2 tourniquets on this dude's arm. The surgeons were pissed.
Yeah.
He had to get flown to like some specialty center that would address the compromised vasculature because it was all, so dude, it was wild. But I've never seen that much blood. Not in traumas, not shootings, not stabbings. I mean, it was blood everywhere. It was wild.
Yeah,
and the guy lived. That was
crazy.
wild.
Yeah, man, it trips me out. And that's actually, you know, since we're on the topic, we'll just lay into it, dude. I have a soapbox about this, especially for gun owners.
Okay. Not carrying medical, you mean?
Not care, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, it drives me up the wall.
I know it.
You carry a weapon that puts holes in things, and you don't know how to put your fingers in holes to fill those holes with hemostatic gauze.
Yeah. Or relying on the, well, I wear a belt.
Yeah,
like,
good
dude,
luck.
Like, it's not the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing. And so like we'll host medical classes and stuff like that, dude. And they're so hard to sell out.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to me. And moreover than the gun, right? So moreover than, you know, oh, you carry a weapon, you should, you know, learn how to clean up your mess if you have to shoot someone or you get shot yourself. It's really like,
what happens when you roll up on the dude who just got kicked off his motorcycle?
that's exactly it, dude.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly it.
Like, which is so much more likely.
So much more common is, you know, you're at Eagle Bike Park.
Yeah, man.
Compound fracture, right? Okay, what do we do? Right? Like, or even when we had a class with 40 people and I was just on this soapbox, dude, I was just fucking laying into these people harder than I needed to probably.
Yeah.
But it's really important to paint the importance of it. And I always use this analogy when I talk to people, especially if they have children.
Yeah.
And it's, if you wreck your car,
bro,
and your kid is bleeding out,
and you only have one tourniquet,
or you don't have any,
or you don't have any,
you have Band-Aids. What kind of parent are you? You're going to sit there and watch your child bleed to death, or are you going to be prepared and actually know how to apply a tourniquet to a kid and save a life?
Here's a different one. I'm a bow hunter. Like, I walk around the backcountry in big mountains with sticks with really sharp knives on the end of them. And you know what I mean? And this device that flings those really sharp, pointy sticks at very high velocities that is under constant tension and pressure with cams that has a potential at least to explode.
Right.
You know what I mean? There are things that just happen that are freak accidents that you're likely going to pull out your trauma kit, even if it's not tourniquet worthy.
Yeah.
You know, even if you just need to, like, you know, throw some butterflies on it and keep it semi-sterile.
Yeah.
Until you can get to, until you can get some sutures or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's oh, dude, it just drives me crazy. Like, so many of my friends straight up like, hey, man, do you have a tourniquet? No. Why? Why would I need a tourniquet?
Yeah.
What do you mean, bro? Yeah. Like, what do you mean? Why would you need a tourniquet? You need a fucking tourniquet.
Yeah. Or it's like, dude, we're almost 40, right? How many of your friends don't know how to do CPR, like, properly?
I would venture to guess to say like at least 90% of them.
It's a frightening number.
Yeah.
And you can, dude, I know very healthy people that in their 40s and 50s, you know, these are like parents of, or friends of my parents, you know, had heart attacks and went into cardiac arrest, and only by bystander CPR and early defibrillation. You know what I mean? So it's like, do you guys have an AED here?
We don't have an AED here.
Oh, shots fired.
Shots fired. So it's funny. It's funny you say that, and I feel a little attacked, but it's good. It's a good thing to talk about.
Good. I'm calling you out.
We don't have an AED here, and we do have a pretty good amount of older clients, you know? And it's one of those things where it's like, they make $1,000 AED.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, should I buy that and then have to purchase another one later? Because it's really not necessarily the most effective. And if you look at the studies on it, it's like it works when it works.
What do you mean, like that quality of that device?
Yeah, that level of device.
I'm like,
that,
let me
that
be
price
very
point
clear. Like early defibrillation
is phenomenal.
is the key to survival.
It is the key to survival.
Early defibrillation and early CPR.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. No, I'm just thinking like to get like a solid, good quality one that's worth having in a shop full time and stuff. That's going to
It's a lot of money. It's like $12,000.
Yep. So it's a constant state of like, do I spend the money now? Do I wait?
Right.
Should I wait? But then there's that thing.
Yeah, it's like,
am I prepared?
Right.
Is my CPR really going to be good enough for someone who had cardiac arrest?
And there's it. How do I say this? There is a reasonable thought process of you live in the middle of the city.
Yep.
You have an ALS fire department and Ada County paramedics that are 2 to 3 miles max from here.
Oh, I mean, the Meridian PD and ISP are a stone throw away.
Like literally right down
on
the
my
street. They all have I would imagine they all have AEDs
Every
in their
single
car.
one of their vehicles, I think, has one now.
You know what I mean? So there is reasonable, like if you are able to recognize, oh, this is actual emergency time, call 911 immediately.
Yeah.
Get somebody down, recognize not breathing, you know, no pulse, start CPR. There's probably not going to be a huge time discrepancy.
I agree.
But I don't like probablys.
I don't like probablys either.
Because I'll tell you, like for the context, like I'm a paramedic in a 911 system in a county. Right. Sometimes systems get really busy, and more than a few times have I been responding to a call 25 miles away.
Yeah.
And yeah, fire can get there because generally speaking, they're not covering the same geographical whatever. But that's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
Especially if you live in an area that doesn't have ALS fire.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So
I think about that with double tap even.
Yeah.
There's not an AED on site. And that the closest paramedic or
Shots
ambulance
fired.
or anything. Shots fired. Sorry, Mark. I love you, bud. But I mean, I don't necessarily think it's on them to provide that. I think that the mobile AEDs might be the option, and should that fall on the firearm instructor to actually have that prepared and ready to go. You know, obviously, I think that if you have known cardiac problems or anything like that, like let's not go shoot guns together.
That's fair. I would be willing to bet, this is complete speculation, but I would be willing to bet that fatalities in firearms courses is probably higher in the spontaneous cardiac arrest versus somebody shooting themselves.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
I don't know if there's a stat out there that can support that, but I would be willing to put money on the 40 plus crowd, some dude throwing a STEMI, dropping down, spontaneous cardiac arrest, and that causing the fatality versus
gunshot. Yeah, no, I mean, the reality is this is like any good firearm instructor is going to be able to prevent catastrophic on the line injuries, and
to a reasonable.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like if I see someone do anything unsafe, they're pretty much going home, especially if I have other clients there, right? If it's a one-on-one and I see like a little bit of that like movement start, I can like fix it. But if I have a class and someone's willy-nilly just smoking and joking,
especially if you've corrected them,
you go home. Yeah. We don't have a whole lot of tolerance for unsafe practices. Actually, you don't.
I mean, it has to be zero.
You don't get a second chance, really. I mean, I've sent people home after one time they've accidentally turned the gun 180, and I'm like, "Yep, pack up. I'll refund you, or we can book a private lesson and we'll remediate work it out." Like I'm not mad at you. I'm just can't have you shooting people.
Yeah,
like these trauma packs I get from North American Rescue are expensive.
Yeah,
I don't want to open them
for sure. No, they are.
Let's keep them in the.
Pack. I carry the GHA, the Live the Creed kit in my truck. Got one in my wife's car. I've got IFAKs kind of all over the place just because I'm kind of a dork like that. But
it's like a thing you do.
It is, but like, and then I sold them for a long time. You know, so I was like, that was like kind of my industry. So just you accumulate stuff. But
I mean, honestly, I still have the LTC, the battle belt one
on your belt. Yeah, dude, I think that IFAK is. I mean, for what it is perfect. It's the flattest packed. It's so easy to access. It's easy to if you have to pull it out for whatever reason, It's easy to put back together.
I could do it blind.
Yeah, man. It's
And nothing's wrapped or anything. So if my hands are covered in blood, I can still
and it's
access
ambi.
it.
You can pull the panel from either side,
way.
which is a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. And I've definitely practiced
Yeah.
clip grab and seen how quick. And
Oh, dude, like down limb drills. Oh man.
Yeah.
You know, like cool. Now you're shooting offhand, and then like reloading and trying to pull. It's like
Dude, it's so silly because it's like the average person's not going to need that
such
skill.
a complex problem that
It's
you'd have to
such a
solve.
complex problem. But in the off chance, I mean, here's the thing: the stuff that I train too, just like you or anyone who's gotten to the point where just a regular pistol class or rifle class isn't quite enough,
Mhm.
we start looking for that next best thing, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, maybe we should try some house clearing or close quarter combat or weapon retention fighting and stuff like that. And having your hand taped closed and someone putting blood on it or like some kind of like liquid.
Yeah, some sort of viscous.
Yeah, dude, changes everything.
For sure.
It changes everything. So, but yeah, I mean, that's my soapbox, man. If people aren't prepared, we don't have a well-armed populace. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a real problem. If I wreck and I need help and some dude shows up and he's like, I got you, man. And I go, okay, cool. Like I need a try. I need a tourniquet at least.
Right.
And they're just like,
yeah,
I'm gonna be pretty pissed.
Yeah.
And moreover, again, especially for parents, like, dude, kids are genuinely rowdy and idiotic.
Yeah.
And I watch my kids do questionable shit all the time.
Yep.
And all I can think is like, well, I'm gonna let them learn the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also prepared where if something did happen, I could at least control the blood.
Yeah. I'll say one more thing and then we could talk about your breakdown. But like I like having levels of medical. So for example, like I've got a full blown blowout kit in my truck.
Yep.
Right. And I can treat my kids, I can treat my wife, treat myself, whatever. And then like in my backpack, I've got a smaller trauma kit and it's more like self-aid buddy aid. You know what I mean? Like you're treating one thing.
Right.
Kind of, but you can keep somebody alive for enough time if it is the right kind of trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If somebody gets fucking shot in the eyeball, like, there's nothing you can do
Well,
about
you're
it.
supposed to pack that wound, right?
Yeah. But yeah, there's nothing like sticking your finger in a brain box. You know?
Figure it out.
But like, so, and then on my body, right? I've toyed around with I've tried the ankle carry, won't do it, can't do it, don't want to do it, not interested in it.
No.
I've tried the like wallet style. They're annoying to me. I don't like sitting on them. I don't like carrying them. I hate bulgy pockets. I've got this like weird aversion to things in my pockets. Like I'll carry a knife and my keys and that's it. Like I hate having things in my pockets. It's just like, it's like a total OCD thing. So for me, and then like I was watching Warrior Poet.
Mm.
So
John
like,
Lovell.
Years ago, he put out this video like carrying a rat tourniquet like in your belt loop. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's low profile.
Sensible.
Tried to do that every day. Putting it on, super annoying. Won't do it. It's so hard. And there's a lot of contention around that tourniquet system. Totally agree. It's like, I would call that a C average piece of gear.
Yeah.
It does nothing great except for be really small.
Yeah.
Like that is its biggest thing is it works decently okay.
Mm-hmm. It can stop blood.
It absolutely can.
Yeah.
If you apply it properly, but if you don't apply it properly, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about the, you said the rats, right?
Yeah.
So that's just essentially a bungee cord with a clip at the end. It's thinner.
Yeah. It's not quite bungee. It's more sturdy than that.
Definitely.
But there's a lot. It's not COTC approved.
Right.
And there's studies out on it about its efficacy, but really all a tourniquet does in its, in the entire design is it basically crushes your major vessels and arteries against a hard surface, your bone.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
So if you can do it with a rat, but what it does really well is it's really small. So
super low profile.
Factor has that rat card product. And it's just like a little titanium card in it, and it turns the tourniquet into a really rapidly deployable thing that's no thicker than 4 or 5 credit cards stacked up.
It is really thin.
It's super thin. You can sit on it and forget about it.
And truthfully, I mean, if walking around with a fanny pack or a backpack's not your gig,
Right.
that's actually a really phenomenal option. If
It's
someone,
it's a super. Is it perfect? No.
no,
But it's better than nothing.
well, I mean, just think if you were hemorrhaging pretty bad, and I tossed you a rat tourniquet, you'd be pretty fucking stoked.
Super stoked.
You'd be like, thank you.
Yeah. Versus nothing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
if you offer me a rat or a cat, like I'm gonna take the cat.
100 every time.
Why is everything named after like these animals? This is weird. We need to change
Well,
the
what's also
tourniquet
interesting too
naming
is
scheme.
you have a cat, right?
Oh yeah,
and
and,
then
a
you have
rat.
the
Yeah,
rat.
that's funny.
And the cat's clearly the superior of the
Absolutely.
two. So
There you
that's
go.
also kind of an interesting little thought process.
Yeah, my brain.
So before we forget, or not even forget, before we move on to anything different, I want to ask the question. And I had a client bring this up to me, and he's a surgeon. He's an ass doctor, so completely different than a trauma surgeon.
I mean, depends.
But he does some
There's
some traumatic
There's
shit.
some weird ass trauma out there.
Yeah, I mean that's true. He may have seen real trauma. But he had said, "Do you guys have rat tourniquets?" And I said, "Well, actually, we do. We do. I have like 4 sitting at the bottom of our blowout bag,
Yeah,
and it's moreover just like if I need them, I have them,
and they're cheap.
and they're cheap. They're easy. I have them, and we have all of our kits come with cat tourniquets.
Yeah,
But
or the RMT.
If-
Like RMT is a great one.
yeah, but if we have a mass shooting,
Right.
well, I'm gonna run out, but I have 4 extra
Mhm.
of something that's better than nothing that I
Yeah.
can help with. He brought up an interesting point of tourniquets for kids. And now there's kids like my kid's, 8 years old, and that's
Their
I-
limbs are small,
they're
so
small.
windlass style tourniquets are a little tough to get applied
I could
properly.
get a cat on him. And but it would be I'd have to be really really tight on it, and I'd
Yeah.
have to make sure I'm dialed.
Yeah, you're taking up most of the material through
Most
the loop.
all of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not much left. And then but he had mentioned that rat tourniquets are great for kids
Yeah,
because they're smaller and you could really crank them down on a little arm.
yeah, and it doesn't take. I don't know if this is scientific, just
Bear with us.
perspective.
We're not lawyers,
But it
either.
doesn't take. Yeah, right. But it doesn't take. I don't think nearly as much pressure.
Mhm.
Like if you're able to like death grip a kid's arm, like you're gonna be able to stop
Oh, I
bleeding.
could tourniquet my kid's arm with my hand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of controversy around it. There's a lot of medics who are like super vocal about how it's a shit product and this
Yeah.
and that. I'm like, look, I think that everything has nothing is free. And there's no perfect solution.
Right.
What it offers me is having something and not having to carry something that annoys me,
Mhm.
and knowing myself and how I EDC. I know I'm not going to put a cat or an RMT or any of the other windlass style COTC approved in my pockets because I don't like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have known levels of like graduating levels of medical gear
Right.
always with me. Like for the way that I have my stuff set up, like it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
And that's on me. If for whatever reason it has a catastrophic failure and I die because of it, well, then you guys can all make content around how I'm stupid for carrying a rat tourniquet. But
We'd also have to think of someone to replace you on the podcast.
that's true. You guys have to figure out how to edit stuff.
yeah.
And, you know.
If you die, we podcast is gonna sound like shit.
Well, luckily
So-
it's kind of hard. This thing makes it hard to sound bad.
I mean, I was in here pressing buttons on it the other day. I was making reverb noise. Dude,
Oh, dude, it's wild.
yeah,
It has
and I
all
was
kinds
like-
of stuff.
Nick was just like, "Did you fuck anything up?" And I'm like, "Oh, definitely, 100 fucking percent." And I just tried to put everything back where it was, and
Yeah.
I think you got it dialed, so I don't have to worry.
I think we're good. I mean, we may sound like robots. I didn't, I don't have in-ear monitors
I had
on. So.
last I had reverb all the way up, so if I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa.
That's really funny. I did not know you had the reverb on.
I turned it off.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, yeah,
oh, okay,
yeah.
cool. So we should sound halfway
Yeah,
decent.
yeah. I'm totally not sharp as a tack, but I can undo my things when I do them wrong. But yeah, no, I mean that's dude, it's just such an important soapbox, and I'll touch on this probably 100 million times
Yeah.
throughout the course of my life with everyone.
If you can poke holes, plug them.
If you can poke holes, plug them, dude, and also just like make sure you can save your kids' lives, because like people like me and you aren't always going to be around, and I would be happy to step in to help anyone that needs
for sure.
medical intervention. And I'm not by any means near even close to your knowledge level, but I know how to stop blood. And
Dude,
that's
I tell
all
I tell
need.
all of my like young medics, or like if I used to precept, so my students like trauma's BLS, man. Trauma's basic.
Yeah.
Like it just is what it is. Like if you think about us like a car, you got an oil leak, like
Mhm.
stop the leak. It doesn't. It's not rocket science.
No, yeah, find a way.
You know?
Roof mastic, dude.
Yeah,
Glue,
man,
use
yeah.
what you got. Make
Some
it
Flex
work.
Seal and just
Yeah, Flex Seal, dude. But yeah, I mean that's my soapbox, man. I just want to, you know, especially I know a lot of my clients are going to be listening to this as well, and a lot of our
Yeah.
friends are going to be listening to this. And if you don't know how to put on a tourniquet yet, I'm ashamed of you still.
yeah.
Not literally. I mean, I love all of our clients and our friends. I just want everyone to be safe and prepared, man.
Well, just think about potentially doing the training. It doesn't. You could take a stop the bleed course for free,
Yeah.
and it's like 4 hours out of a Saturday.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
plan for it. It's you know,
And they make trainer tourniquets. That's important to mention.
if
so
it's blue, don't carry it with you.
Yeah, straight up. If it's
Yeah.
blue or if the ribbon on the inside of it is stretched,
Yeah,
that's a trainer.
Yeah.
Especially in sim shots. So if you see a tourniquet and you want to jack our tourniquets, like it's a trainer. I
Yeah.
promise you. But yeah, I mean, I've had people back here, and I'll just be like, "Do you know how to put on a tourniquet?" They're like, "No," and I'm like, "Oh, let's go." And I'll have them try to apply it to me, and I'll still sometimes even be able to fit my finger under it.
Yeah.
Just like, you thought that was tight.
right.
I'm still bleeding. Keep
Yeah.
going. And so yeah, it's just, you know, just be prepared, man. It's insanity that this complacency with comfort and like, oh, everything's fine. The police will come. The ambulance will come.
You're a terrorist for telling people to be prepared. I'm just saying.
I know. Yeah, that put me on. That's like I'm on another watch list now.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you're
If
supposed
there's
to
not
learn-
enough,
Yeah, you're supposed to learn how to protect yourself. Your
Yeah.
watch list. Yeah. So I'll end my soapbox. You
well,
know, I
we can start
digressed.
another one because we're gonna roll in. Well, pull up that shooting you wanted to debrief.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. So you're gonna have to be real it.
I'll be real it in, but watch it now so we have so it can be kind of a real time.
All right, Jesus. So I follow. I mean, my Instagram's filled with everything that you could possibly imagine: gun related, trauma related, shooting related. I mean, just everything. And then naturally, save the post. Naturally, I have tons of friends that are like, "Oh, watch this. Tell me your thoughts. Like, what do you think of this?" And
Well, and to give a little bit of context as to, you may not be the ultimate authority on like these types of things, but you do interface a lot with DAs. So your perspective to not only the tactics, which we're going to talk about some of the tactics here, but also the legality and the lawfulness
Yes.
of engagements.
yes.
It's actually information that you've come across
Mhm.
by speaking with and interfacing with
yeah,
experts who are dealing with it in real time.
Yeah. So yeah. To preface that even more, and to talk about this even more, I am not the standard
Yeah.
pistol shooting. I do think I'm a great shooter. I think that there are better shooters. I think I'm a good instructor. I think there's better instructors. I think there's also a whole lot of different philosophies that each person carries with shooting.
Sure.
So this is mine. And before we even, I'm just looking at the still image right now, thinking like, what the fuck, man. I truly believe that our law enforcement needs to be held to the highest standards, and I truly believe in most departments they're held to what I call the lowest common denominator to pass their qualifications.
So the basic pistol fall, basic rifle fall, that
exactly.
kind of stuff.
Yes, and then moreover, there's a lot of law enforcement that I know, and I'm lucky to be surrounded with savages that want to train regularly.
So what are the basic? Do you know what are the basic standards?
Man,
Is it like running like a handful of drills and scoring?
that's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's basically like I'd say it's probably no different than like maybe like a level 2 USCCA qualification or something,
Okay.
where it's like you're shooting multiple distances, you have to perform a reload,
come from the
clear a
holster.
malfunction, come
Yeah.
from the holster, stuff like that. And also you have to do it based on their procedures. So it's not like, damn, Jeremy, you're really sporty. No, you have to do it our way.
Got it.
And if there's any law enforcement that are listening to this is not a dig at you guys. Get out
No,
and
and
train, though.
honestly, it's a good opportunity to open up the conversation. So if what we're talking about, if there's something that doesn't resonate based off of where your location or your department or whatever, let's talk about it, because
Yep.
we're interested in this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So.
and it's important too, and I think with how much hate law enforcement gets nowadays, is it's silly and unreasonable, but it's also let's
but
talk
be
about
but
it
be worthy of being defended as
but
well.
exactly. Yeah, I mean that's it. And there's levels to this shit. And I say that about so much stuff, and there's levels to shooting, and there's levels to law enforcement's abilities to shoot. So to preface this before I lay into someone too hard, I am not anti-police by any standard. I am anti-shitty shooter.
Well, yeah, I'm anti-bad police.
I'm anti-bad police, but I'm also anti-very shitty shooter.
I'm super pro good cops.
Yeah, good cops are dope.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, again, I've said the law enforcement agents that we work with and out here in Idaho, they've done a great job with training. For
Yeah.
Meridian PD has a phenomenal training facility, probably one of the best ones I've seen in
Since you've
person.
been, yeah.
It's amazing. Ada County Sheriff's Department is just filled with a bunch of truly outstanding shooters that actually train outside of work. Like
Yeah.
these people are
They're gun guys.
they're good. They're gun guys.
Yeah,
And it's
I know.
great.
We had a bunch of law enforcement officers that would roll through our shop,
Yeah.
and just like they'd come and talk. They'd talk gun like nerd stuff.
Hardcore. I mean, in
You
case in
know.
point, even like we've talked about Combat Absolute on the first or second podcast, and dude knows more about, like, he's forgotten more about guns than I could
Yeah.
even learn.
And there's a bunch of those guys.
Yeah. So I mean, there's validity in the fact that some cops are absolute savages. This one, however, is not the case. So this,
So we should get Gentry in on some of the. We'll do like a
I
whole
already
episode
told him he has
on
to come on.
debriefs. Yeah,
Yeah, and he has a good personality for it too, and
yeah.
he's also
'Cause
retired. So
he's retired. He's been in gunfights.
yeah.
He's California Post. He was California SWAT. He was I think a
SWAT
armored
instructor,
trainer. Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Anyways, I'm freaking fluffing him, and he's not even here. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, Kyle. Nickname is Mr. Perfect Teeth. All right, so I'm gonna fire it up. I'll watch it, and it's
Yeah,
just have you-
and I'll roll in. I'll roll in like
yeah,
a B-roll.
B-roll.
Yeah,
Have you seen this? I wish there was a way for us.
you
to watch
sent it to me last night.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you have seen it.
Yeah, so I
Um,
saw the grip you're
Do you
talking
want
about.
sound on or sound off?
It doesn't matter either
All
way.
right, well, sound's on. So let me turn it down a little bit. Make sure I don't blow the mics out. So this is on at officer_involved.
Sir, stop where you're at. Let's see your hands. Drop your phone. Drop your phone.
Just let it play
Stop
through.
where you're at. Drop your phone. Stop where you're at and drop your phone. Drop your phone. Drop your phone.
Phone and get on the ground.
713, hold the channel. Gun.
Fleming Springs.
Can't even make this up. So
713, have on some point.
so what I'm witnessing right now is there's multiple camera angles on it, and we
all
have
body worn, right? Or is there one vehicle?
I think there might be a vehicle later.
I know they play it from a couple different angles.
Yeah, and they have to cover their asses, which is very smart because this is like this angle's not the one that they
Well, and the audio is so funny. I remember like when I first played it, I'm like, they were really angry about this guy's cell phone. Like they're all like drawn down on this dude. They're
Yeah.
like, drop your phone.
drop
I'm
your
like,
phone, drop your phone,
freaking
drop your
assault
phone.
phones.
And poor guy's just like, what, man? So first and foremost, I mean, there you can. There's a lot of things you can outwork, right? If you
Mhm.
have a mediocre stance, you can work through that. If you have mediocre natural point of
Yeah, if you
aim,
cross over your feet while you're moving to a
we
spot.
can work
Yeah.
through those things. Man, when your grip is that shitty, there's not a chance in fucking hell her shots were all dialed.
So you're talking about the female
The
officer.
female officer, first
She
on
had some
scene,
crazy like backwards,
Yeah.
like one hand was like completely off.
yeah. It looked so when you look at man, the whole left side of her gun was like exposed, right?
Yeah.
So she had no isometric pressure, nothing.
Right.
It was when I first saw it, I giggle when I watch stuff like this, not because I'm seeing someone get shot, right? Even though that sometimes is Murphy's law. It's what are you doing with your hands?
Yeah.
Like the grip that this lady had, this lady cop, is unacceptable in any circumstance.
Yeah.
Now, sure, she's afraid,
Well,
but she was issuing drop the phone with her gun drawn and pointed
right.
at him with a horrible grip.
And we've all had really bad draw cycles
Totally.
where you bring your gun up and you've got the worst grip,
Yeah.
but you can adjust your grip so that you've got a properly built grip
It takes no time at all.
and it takes no time at all. This is why it bothers me. And maybe your perspective is a little bit different, but I would imagine that the elements are the same. They're in a neighborhood.
Mhm.
This lady's about to break shots on this dude who, which is comically, I don't know if the guy died or not. They smoked him.
They lit him up
He
pretty hard.
he was appendix carrying, like I don't even what was it? It was a scorpion, right?
Yeah.
So he was like a appendix carrying this little SBR, this little
Yeah.
pistol, and so they go over and they put in like, oh my gosh, like they pull out this
Yeah.
huge thing. It was kind of comical, not comical that the guy died.
Yeah,
It's
but, you know.
whatever. He's a bad guy. Anyways, or presumably, allegedly.
Allegedly. I think the word we're looking for. We should be we're incriminating
Yeah,
this poor guy,
right.
and he's just like, dude, I didn't do
He's,
shit.
he's allegedly, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they smoke this dude. My thing is this she's got the most uncontrolled grip in a neighborhood. Her backdrop is
It's a house.
homes.
It's a house.
Homes.
Yep.
So my problem is one, it's not just you need to be better so that you can affect your job, as in dispatching this bad guy more
Readily, yeah.
readily. You cannot guarantee your shots
No.
when you have a poorly built grip.
Yep.
And when your backdrop isn't desert, you need to be accountable for every round that comes out of your gun.
Every one of them.
And the reality is legally she will be accountable for those.
Sure.
But that doesn't help the kid, little Timmy, who's playing with his freaking Nintendo in the front room of the house across the street.
Yep.
That's the problem. That's my biggest problem.
No, I agree. I mean, naturally, my biggest problem is the grip. I'm just looking at it. I'm just like, Jesus, get real. Like, what are you doing here? What are we doing here? You know,
some consistent, like 8 hours of hard training and then consistent 10 minutes a day of dry fire.
If you carry a gun for a living.
you're gonna change your entire way of yeah.
I did. Oh my God, I would love to interview her and just be like, so what was going through your mind when you were looking at your hands and realizing that your grip was just dog shit?
Right.
And at what point did you realize that like maybe we should start?
Does she break shots like that?
I think she breaks a few shots and then she like jumps behind her vehicle, and moves back around the rear of the vehicle. And then the officer 2 or the second officer on scene is just natural point of aim. I think he probably is the one that got. If there were shots fired from both guns.
Well, when they switch over to him, he's got a properly built grip.
His grip looked great.
I mean,
you can see the comfort
you can see
in his
this. You
gun.
can see the sights. You can see the presence that he's got on the gun. Like he trains.
Yeah, you could see the comfort.
And I would imagine all the hits that landed were probably out of his.
Well, he also, I mean, and again too, I mean, the proximity was relatively close. He was not a far target. I mean, maybe 10 yards, which is really relatively close.
Right.
And then he also had natural point of aim. Right. When we have dual spinal alignment, all you have to do is make that gun go straight.
Yeah.
That's it. Guns don't shoot left and right unless the person's shooting left or right or has poor form or something's happening. So
guns shoot where you're pointing them.
That's really it. That's I mean, that's the bottom line. That's really where it is. When you pull that trigger and that shot breaks, wherever that muzzle's pointed, that bullet goes.
Yeah. So, despite Hollywood telling you can curve the bullet.
Yeah. Yeah. Despite what Baldwin says.
Right. Yeah.
Guns. You know, we are in control of them. And yeah. So this video just was. Oh man, some of these officer involved shootings are great examples of phenomenal just training, phenomenal vision, phenomenal tactics as far as like. You know, you'll see one where there was a couple months ago, a dude hops over like a handicap rampway, and this cop draws and Bill drills this dude retreating perfect. I mean, textbook. It was beautiful. And to make it even more beautiful, he was shooting a staccato P. And I was like, nice, dude. Good for you, carrying, like stacking your deck. But yeah, I mean, the disparity of training is so obvious between the two body cam footages on this one.
Yeah.
You know, and for sure, I mean, gun, but I don't even think in the body cam footage he was really necessarily reaching too much for it.
I mean, I heard put your phone down and then all of a sudden gun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, him trying to pull that out. I mean, it's
a far fetch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, you know, the cops need to go home safe to their families. That's
for
paramount.
sure.
And they're
yeah, I mean, I don't relish dudes getting shot on the street, but if you're a bad guy who's out trying to kill people, like, I mean, you know, I don't feel too bad about you reaping your rewards.
No. Yeah. I mean, play stupid games.
Yeah.
Win stupid prizes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that's my big gripe. I wanted to look at that one, and I sent it to everyone I know. I sent it to all my cop buddies. I sent it to every single human that would possibly watch it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I just laugh. It's like, dude, your grip just absolutely unacceptable. So when you be real it wherever you put it up in this video, just have a good look at Officer One's grip, and take that, internalize that as what not to do when you're freaking out. Build your grip properly, you know, and if you follow procedures, like if you can look at a recipe and cook a meal the right way, you could definitely find a way to build a grip under stress. But yeah, it was comical, man. It was a rough one for me, dude. I was just reeling. Like, how do you have a job? How are you carrying a gun for a living if you are holding a gun like that?
Yeah.
It looked like she was getting ready to try to grab it like a rifle, dude. Like it was unbelievable. So that's another soapbox, man, dude. I just get riled up on that shit because I do hold our law enforcement to a high standard. It's so important, dude. Like, you carry a gun for a living, like, be good at it. And I also hold our civilians to the same standard. It's, if anything, I hold them to a higher standard. I'm just like, look, you're in protection of yourself and everything. You need to like train hard to be really good. But that's also a great example of too what can happen when you're stressed. Maybe this lady cop is like, no, I'm actually a savage. Maybe she's a great shooter on the range.
Right.
but maybe she hasn't had enough like stress inoculation and stuff. So yeah. Oh, we're fucking losing cameras left and right in here.
Both
This
cameras
is-
dropped. So
this
maybe
is
that
the
maybe
No
the
Quarter
universe
podcast.
changed. Yeah.
Yeah, No Quarter podcast is just going to be like intermittent video footage.
Yeah,
of
we're
us.
we're trying to figure these camera things out. So, anyways,
I think mine just died.
Okay.
Like, I had it on the charger for like 20 minutes. I did the best I could.
all right. Well, with that, that's episode 2.5. We tried to make it short, still 45 minutes long. So
So we talk a lot.
anyways,
It happens.
all right, we'll see you guys on episode 3.
Yeah.
All right.